It's a day after Thanksgiving, and Christian, my husband, is by my side. He's caressing my arm, telling me, "Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay." Our family's back at home, and we wait impatiently for the doctor. Nurses come in and out and do blood tests on me, and we make polite conversation with each other, filling up the time. A few hours later, we're taken into the X-ray room, and the tech begins to do the diagnostic. I try to stay calm, but she begins to look intensely into the monitor, and we ask her, What do you see?" And she says, "I'm sorry, I don't see the heartbeat of the baby. It looks like it died at 9 weeks." Our hearts sank, and I can see a wave of disappointment wash over Christian's face. But secretly inside, I'm relieved. I'm a 36-year-old love and relationship coach, entrepreneur, married to the man of my dreams, and we live in our dream apartment in New York City. Yet, a part of me wonders, can I really have it all? Can I really grow my business and be a loving partner and be a mother and follow my dreams? And as I keep moving forward in my life, I see doubt, resistance, and fear. In this moment, I'm realizing that the number one thing that's really holding me back from achieving my elusive dreams is self-doubt. And I've noticed that self-doubt is the number one killer of dreams. I'm going to share a few stories about how my own dreams nearly got thwarted. It's Sunday evening, and Christian and I are in our favorite pizzeria. It's our 10th date. I think things are going reasonably well. And he looks at me and he asks, "Sarika, are you sure you even want a relationship? If you want me to leave, I will." I freeze. I realize that I've been caught. I've been keeping this man at a distance. And I wondered, does this man even deserve my love? My thoughts start arising. But of course, I realize that the thing that's holding me back is really my fears. I'd just been dumped a few months before, and I think back to all of my heartbreaks. I realize maybe I just don't have it in me to be a loving partner. And in that moment, I have a choice. Do I continue in this relationship, or do I just walk away? I look at this man who so vulnerably and open-heartedly presents this. Huge risk for him. And my wall comes down. I decide to overcome my lack of trust in myself and him, and to take a leap of faith. I tell him, "Christian, you know what? I really do want a relationship. I've always dreamed of having a life partner, and I want to give this a shot." And I'm glad I did. 4 years later, we are happily married. And sometimes I find that even when I don't think I'm worthy of love, he continues to love me. So friends, the first lesson here is, when you're faced with self-doubt and you see an amazing opportunity in front of you, something that's in alignment with the dream that you have, the only way to overcome self-doubt is by trusting, and trust is a muscle. And in order to build that muscle, you have to be vulnerable and have openness. The second story has to do with my career. I just left the corporate world a year ago to start my own business in something that I care about, helping other women who are struggling in their love lives so that they can open their hearts to love, joy, and abundance. It's Monday morning, and I can't seem to wake up. I have 5 whole days ahead of me, and I'm afraid. I took out an $11,000 loan, and it's due soon. And in the past few months, I haven't seen any new clients. I began to feel heavy in my heart and wonder, did I invest in the right mentors? Have I done the right certification programs? Am I even worthy of being a coach? That afternoon, I have my session with my life coach, and I tell her about this predicament, that I'm nearly ready to just throw in the towel. And then she asks me, Sarika, I get it, but have you been to a networking event in the past few months? I say no. Have you called up a prospective client or asked for any referrals? I say no. Are you needing my approval or permission to go ahead and follow your dreams? And I realize in that moment, yes, I've been leaning on other people to provide me guidance, to give me permission to move forward. And yet, this doubt still arose within me. So I decided to call up a wise friend and ask her, should I just go back to the corporate world? And then she says to me, Sarika, what you've planted is almost like a seed of a mango tree. It doesn't grow in just 1 year. It takes 20 years for a mango tree to grow and give fruit. You've got to keep persistent and be dedicated and constantly nourish the seed and have patience. And so that was my second lesson around self-doubt. So at this point, I think about what are the gifts that self-doubt has given me. Well, it's kept me safe. I've gotten to some of the best schools and worked at some of the top firms because I wanted to make sure I had a doubt-proof resume. I haven't made any major mistakes that have left me out on the streets, so I'm all good. And yet, there's a part of me that wants more, that wants to be a little bolder, that wants to be a little braver, that wants to be a mom, that wants to grow my business. And I find that self-doubt is like this pesky stepmother in the background. So I turn to some of the great leaders and wonder, how did they do it? What if Martin Luther King Jr. had gotten up on stage and said, I have a dream? And then he says, never mind. No one wants to hear about it. What would happen to segregation in America? Or what if Mahatma Gandhi started writing his book, My Experiments in Truth, and then he said, you know what? No one wants to really read this. Let me just put this away in my journal. What would happen to the world peace movement and to modern day spirituality? And what if Malala Yousafzai, after that brutal gunshot to her head, woke up and said, you know what, I'm getting signals from the universe that I don't need to work on this issue? What would happen to the fight on education? So I realized that each of these leaders, they brought forward their messages, their visions, for each of us to benefit from it, for the world to benefit from it. And as a coach, I believe that each of us has our own vision, our own unique gift, our own dreams that we're here to share, that only we can share in our unique selves. So I try to think about how would one tackle self-doubt? Let's say I have already examined these things. Well, self-compassion, trust, vulnerability, authenticity to one's own calling. And yet, there seems to be something deeper, more fundamental than that. So again, I look at these great leaders, and I wonder, what is it about them that was able to push through this gargantuan self-doubt? And I realize that what they're able to do is access something deeper within them, a force that's so powerful, a loving force that you might want to call Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness or God or universe. And they're able to see that they can rely on that and rely on the support of the universe and following their message, their intentions. And for that, that requires a leap of faith in oneself and a belief in oneself. So I call up one of my coaches and I tell her, look, I want to take a leap of faith in myself. How do I do that? And she says, Sarika, you got to love yourself and accept yourself completely, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I find myself on a beach in Miami, wearing a white dress with sequins and flowers in my hair, and I'm looking at the sunrise over the ocean waves. I called my husband, and I tell him, honey, today I'm going to perform the ultimate act of self-love. I'm going to marry myself. So that's what I did. I decided to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly about myself and take a leap of faith in myself and marry myself without a doubt. Thank you.